So you better be part of all discussion all meetings flow listen contribute constructively inside law all decision will happen. All recommendation will stop and we plan the community listen say you may aware you may safe say all problem flow all women all beginning all people with disability ili can plan the challenge plus the attending training. We can plan the training was to happen inside our community where plan the time achieving sentiment. So giving a campaign also one responsibility for NGOs or any organization is to concern the community. You service the may problem the community finish. So you must help them community from make them some all good criteria who should come. Help them community leaders to tell them say we've learned 3 months, one disability, one all representative. So by giving more chance to help them police have selected right participant to attend the training where you must have a Kim. I think him and one will pick one way. Maybe talk about around him plan to as one people recommendation. You may be in community. We also have the responsibility when we go into communities. We must make sure that we help the community leaders to identify the people we needed for the workshop. Otherwise, they will just head count and send people. And then at the end of the day, we won't achieve what we wanted to do or we want to achieve in the community. We also acknowledge maybe I left them up hand, but I say planet time community attitude and we want people have problems. So we also another responsibility blow all the information shared in a very simple way, a simple language so that we can understand and problem blow community attitude by Mr. Vekarami Kamtown. I think Hemanamos Fusisam Lol Kurbeli one and Balisa contribute more. All recommendations with them. Thank you.
Thank you, group way look at them communities. I think we got 1 or 2 questions and then Elchiblo Yumilo Sanmo.
No, thank you too much for presentation. We come look at the communities concern participation or how you may achieve more issues. I think Mr. President, with an interest in the discussions today. I think you meet them say, "What we become long way, and become long way, especially to improve more governance." I think we find them out. Say, "Lorumi, I plan to you know got knowledge ya, or you know away." Say, "Governance, Mr. Kotan lo, Trikatan lo, last level no." We go to area council. The area council for information blow from which stuff. You make every sector is that inside. Pay one something by me agree them, the community. Say one sectors governance block time a week. For example, time we I ask them, look at women rep, is that one area council? If very difficult there. Look at them. So how me looking so governance? Iko refine them town more and very, very weak. Also, Mama I agree with them. Attitude problem, huh? Because maybe church too. The more churches only come inside. Christian denominations are already so divided. We are only preaching one Jesus Christ. I mean one Christian, huh? Yes, I mean it's all challenges. And then all chief. He got full of chiefs. So-called chiefs. One of them killing big, one of them one money, put them say me chief them. And all difficulties big. Until where you mean short amount disparities here, you got big question. How about one communities have successfully made something, but otherwise, you may start. You may start. More importantly, you should go down more, especially at the community level. Also to improve more small governance. And then you come to area council, come to province, you go to national government. You may got every resource stuff. How you may use them, you may accept them, or you may agree on something. It's very difficult. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eshi. I think by you may give him lo collect lo Solomon Islands and then by me move lo next group where me discuss on something lo level of province.
Thank you very much. I think most of the structures we are talking about starts from a national level up to the community. I think by me like for highlighting lo here is that we try to improve down to the household level, yeah. Because most of the assessments done, Emil not doing the community medium low household level. Yeah. So I would recommend if we can touch base on encouraging household in a community to develop their own household disaster plan, so that roles and responsibilities of men, women, and children are stated out clearly there. Thanks.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you. Pa imi sabi kivim naya lo group lo Philip lo level lo province.
Okay, thank you. Most of our discussions are mainly around the importance of having a meaningful involvement of different groups that we can categorize them or we can see them as most vulnerable groups in a society, and that involves women, girls, boys, and people that living with disability. We also try to categorize them into three activities that should be done before a cyclone or a disaster could happen, and what during a disaster, and also on the recovery phase. We have few recommendations here, and our recommendation as follows. First one is gender and protection inclusive to provincial plans, performance indicators monitored annually by the Provincial Government Council, and we understand the Secretary General at the provincial level, they are the one that taking the lead to provide monitoring basis of different agencies that are working at the provincial level, and they are the one that they should provide some basic information and see how they can provide performance indicators to that. Second one is consultation on provincial plans. We understand that different sectors at the provincial level, they have their own plans, and we would like to see different aspects of different activities that could involve activities that could involve the different vulnerable people that we list here should be also on those sector plans at the provincial level. That we have the response and recovery process should have the involvement of all the people that we are targeting at this activity. And fourth is full participation to fair decision making. We understand that every time there's a lot of projects that are coming through into the communities, and most of these projects are also being discussed at the provincial level, and we believe that the important issue here is to involve the ideas taken from this different grouping, especially if a project would like to address water. Maybe it is very important to have recommendation from women, because they are the one who fetch water every day, to see where the water tank should be and where the water pump should be. So they are the one that with some basic information and clear information on where the water should be. So they are the one to be involved in the information about the water project. And that also include other activities that should be done at the provincial level before the implementation at the community level. Also, we are also looking at the involvement of vulnerable groups at the PDC. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip, for the presentation. Is there any question, or should we move directly, or any comment directly to the national group? Okay, we will basically move to our national team. I think, yeah, from. Okay, there's two groups that discuss at the national level. I think for Margaret and okay, okay, yeah. Peter, no mic.
From our team here, national level, we have discussed several, couple of areas, important areas. We sort of highlighted 3 points. 5, sorry. It's very important for us to include youth and women and girls into decision-making level. So we consultation should be disaggregated so that the women, youth, and people living with disabilities voice could be heard. With numbers of meetings and reports with target sets. And the second one, people living with disabilities are mentally disabled, are not mentally disabled, and they can have a meaningful role on data collection. So we sort of looking at how we can engage them in some areas. We might not engage them in all the higher level meeting, but again, we can put them into some important roles where they can play, like for instance, collecting data or some useful things that can inform our response. We need to look at process and procedures of how we could go into a community who are the hidden people. We need to give them a road but to be included in a discussion group. We need women being very visible at national level. Role models are needed and the national champions. So the fourth recommendation is gender mainstreaming in DRR and DRM into policies and education awareness on preparedness, response and recovery would be appropriate for and to inform our resourcing or budget. So basically means we need to include them into our policies and planning, and as well as integrated into other cluster plannings. And fifth is training and awareness at leadership level on need for inclusive things like politicians, planners, implementers, and chiefs, for example. This is important also that we need to have awareness at that level to include the voice of women, people living with disabilities, and boys. And lastly, sixth, we have 6 points here. We also, this is important that we also include gender issues into, like I already mentioned, into cross-cutting issues that in every clusters. For instance, we looking at shelter and wars. All this we also have to include the gender balance issue inside those clusters so that they can incorporate in the activities. Yeah, and that's it.
Thank you, Peter. I think I'll one question and then we move to the last group where we talk about national national level. Or any comment or additional or one away group A Bintalem? No? Okay, Xavier? Group lo next group where thing Cherry Yesrom Stable. Who is the I guess it's lunchtime, so everybody's.
So I think our group struggled with a very large subject in a small amount of time. There was quite a lot of discussion around clusters and how gender analysis was or wasn't included in program design. Pretty much what we came up with is that a strong recommendation that we need to have better understanding of coping mechanisms at the community level in terms of different roles of men and women, looking at capacities at the community level, whether there's traditional ways that women's role could be enhanced in either preparedness or response. We did talk a little bit about how does the cross-fertilization, no bad pun intended, happen between the clusters? Is it entirely the role of the gender and protection cluster to raise awareness of gender issues in the other clusters? I know this is an issue globally in terms of gender and protection as a mainstreaming issue, but there was some discussion around how we could make sure that all clusters were more aware of gender and protection as a mainstreaming issue, as well as being able to better incorporate that into planning. I've noted that there was some discussion around the definition of the household. So a lot of the issues that were highlighted in the findings from the Gender and Protection Lessons Learned workshop around vulnerable groups being excluded from relief items is linked to the issue of how do we define a household. So if there could be improvements made to that, that may be a step forward in terms of making sure we don't exclude women, children, people with disabilities, vulnerable groups. Is that fair enough? There was also some debate about, you know, are we being unfair on ourselves? Was it really so bad, the response? I don't think we answered that. It was a large question. Okay.
Thank you.
Are there any comments or questions at all to any of the groups? Wojciech?
Just building on what was stated, I think, again, there is a big role that the regional clusters could play, not only exchanges between different clusters, but also between different Pacific countries, keeping an eye on sort of developing new projects, new methodologies, and having opportunity to share this experience and replicating or adopting some of these approaches from one Pacific country to another. Thank you.
Thank you. Me also, add on some group Italian finish lo plan de lo also you missed the lessons learned and meeting me very important lo you may take note them say even though lo you may use some one kind of format lo collecting information, but me also feeling say inside lo community, for example lo tana hem one negative different definition lo household. And from say you use one kind system, one kind form, no more you may collect them. That you may talk about them house, important house, where family may live him. You may talk that you may cook information and you may think about house plus sleep. But usually low community or Catalan house plus sleep, they come low 7 o'clock low night, they go inside the house plus sleep. But most of the time, we spend them inside the kitchen. Hemia, you mean lo tayo mi ko mega mo lasa sibin no capture em hemia. Mi capture em house plus sleep. Pero full 8 or 10 hour, 11 hour ya. Mama watul picking in lo sabin inside the house plus sleep. Li sabin inside the one kitchen. But kitchen ya now, you mean look me also one priority house. Let me build them back. Instead, you may build them back house plus sleep after mama watul picking in. People with disability, they have handed me to lo one clear space. 8 hours, you may want to accommodate them 8 hours, at least safe. But you may think about where they will sleep, or you can't sleep, no more house to sleep after house where 2 to 3 family share and me look and me come out to low presentation, but me think it may very important that you may also take note them say TV Nation household internationally, I think it may different, but one community blame too. TV Nation it may different. But from say you use one kind of standard form no more, make him say, "Ola saya tu, ligo minasa say train group ligo karal information no, ligo karal we meeting sell information no even useful no more time we elisa tram lo butu ko pa lo system blau na in respond him." So one community in itself they have their own different definitions and meetings say ola say should take note him that ligo karam information from. For example, a household. Let me talk about them house to sleep, but them house to kitchen. I think at one place where you should tell them say which to la house na have priority house play you may rebuild them. So give one clear direction. Kalau cluster time you go rebuild them kitchen instead plus sleep. House plus sleep from plan the family. They spend them more time, more they share together. You may also want them take them notes. They put fasten where community live them plus sharing and eating together and doing things together. You may look at during the disaster, you may move from community being together to an individualism. From no more all fasten where you may start making molding inside the community, You go build the one individual house, the family, I mean, most have a share with them, brother, most start blame. We can start building one person locality, we go start him one. I didn't know stop support them all. Thank you.
Okay, I think by me karam tugula question me last one from I think me pitim lunchtime just now by me impact them lol narfala session di me afternoon.
Thank you. Me listen with them interest long how you may engage okay the vulnerable groupings, yeah. Let me also note them too that time you may talk about community perceptions of blessing, you need too much flow you may strengthen them family governance system. Lo suppose me have embrace them the roles long gender. Gender have meaning both male and female. So suppose you strengthen them, then by resolving problem where you must have addressed them today. So you may need law, you may improve them, yeah. And another one now, you chiefly system where governance system where we have in place finish. You need law, you may strengthen them, yeah. So make them say any privileges will come in the course of disaster, beneficiary will get given fairly to the gender. Gender meaning both female and male. And Narula, what is important, people with disability, you need to look good because plan something where me stuff affect them you lo Vanuatu, you may look low get away or the underprivileged perhaps. Body blow get him in a complete. But one way me more affecting you today have me some sort of mental problems. And one way me contribute inside now, have me abuse of marijuana today. I think it better blow you me look bless you. How now you must have a container, LOL system. And last one where me start now, have me linkages between community, family, then community, then become law province, more national. How now flow, let me effective also one. So it need you may improve the capacities here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Thomas. I'll try to say one or two things without going too far. I'm a former councillor here in Port Vila from 2009 to 2013. I'm a telecommunication guy who works with TVL, and before TVL, I traveled the whole country. I'm also one of the executive member of Wanuku Party. I'm also involved a lot in the church. Myself and my wife been working with a lot of community addressing children and women and how to build women and children. Because we believe that the children and the women are the basis of any community and any family. And I'm glad to tell the audience that we've started a village model on the other side of the island to build what we believe. And the first thing is to bring the water down to the village. The next thing is to help them build homes that are appropriate to that village. And I need to talk Islam a little bit. All family below you me. If me, Jerry from, I don't understand myself as a person, and I don't understand my spouse, I don't understand my children, then already I'm feeling. You need plenty of people who we want to be up there while we don't understand our own family. Many of us men, we spend so much time. Lokava, and me glad to somebody mentioned marijuana. One of my sons, I'm involved in marijuana, he wasn't able to continue. But today I'm glad to tell you that he's a productive person now. If I can do what I could do from where I am, without worrying too much about on the other side, then we can be able to move the whole thing forward. That is what we need to do. On the other side, Lord, where we are now, we've been working with the community there, and I'm very pleased to tell you that they have changed. We finished from this workshop. It's very important that each one of us goes out there and do it at home before he does it outside. That is very important. Otherwise, we'll be wasting our fellow friends from outside, the resources, the time, and our own time. See what's happening in the country today with the leaders, in the church, in the government, everywhere. We're running like mad people. While our own ways of combating disasters and meeting cyclones are already there. We need to build on them. And I challenge you, we will do this one at that very village. And within 2-3 years' time, you'll come back and see. And you'll ask me whether we, and see, that is the direction Vanuatu should be going. I can talk all day. Our ways of living in this part of the world is the way forward, and we must build upon it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you too much. I think you may give one people a clap, you may run, you may participate, and then maybe I think lunch, me ready by me have a go lunch. Thank you.
Thank you everybody for your discussion. I know that 2 hours is definitely not enough for this subject, but frankly, we were pleased to even have a spot on the agenda. So, we do have the more full reports from the forum and the Gender Protection Cluster reflections, so we will be handing them over to government and to the other clusters for consideration, as well as all the notes from this session. Thank you very much for the final comment around change starts here. Change starts here with us from within. We can make change. We can make as many recommendations as we like, but we have to make the change personally before change can be expected elsewhere. Please do continue this discussion over lunch. It's a very important discussion, and I'm very pleased to see how active everyone has been. And we'll see you after the lunch break.